Hello, everybody. I am so sorry I'm late. Happy Tuesday. Hey. I am just getting started. I'm so sorry for the lateness. I hate being late. I'm dropping the VIP. I thought I was dropping the link in the VIP. Let's see. Come on. Okay, let's do that. There's a link in the VIP. And we should have the chat up and ready to go. Great. Hello, everyone. There we go. The chat is up. The VIP has got their links. We are good to go. Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday again. I apologize for being a few minutes late. It's been a it's been an actually very productive morning, but sometimes productiveness means that that I get a little behind, and which is odd. But anyway. So today I want to talk about mindset, which I know is very different from our usual, um, technology, everything all day geekiness that I bring to the table. So I'm not usually a huge mindset person, but here's the deal. I have had just a really, really shitty mindset lately, and I would like to talk about it with all of you so that I can explain to you how to get over this. Because as entrepreneurs, we go through ups and downs, right? Like that's what owning a business is. You go through ups and downs, you go through these mindset shifts, and at each milestone, and because we're a group that thrives on milestones, right? Like milestone number 1 is to get the 10 to 15 hours back every week. Milestone number 2 is to make sure that you're hitting your first revenue goal. Milestone number 3 is, and now 2 and 3, those milestones for this group, those really come when you get into the kind of the VIP program. We build out your milestones with you and then help you create the roadmap and the path to reach those milestones within your business. So because this group is all about milestones, at every milestone you take within your business, there are new setbacks. There's new challenges you need to overcome, especially if you are sales driven, right? Like if you, at the end of the day, we all want to make money. So we should be sales driven to a certain extent. Now, that doesn't mean you focus 100% of your time and effort on sales. And there are ways to focus on sales without being super slimy and super, like over the top salesy. Anyway, entrepreneurship is a complete cluster. Like it's an absolute roller coaster, right? So 1 minute we're good, we're riding the highs, we've got dopamine levels, we are doing all the things right, we're celebrating our wins, we're just killing it. And then like the next minute it almost feels like the wind is knocked out of you, and you just feel like what the heck just happened. So today I want to talk about that a little bit and try to give you some advice and try to give you some tips and tricks that I've used so that doesn't happen to you. So the biggest thing that I've learned over my, the biggest thing that I learned since starting this business is how to overcome that, right? Like you can't let the down times stop you. You have to keep going. And if you get the wind knocked out of you because of something that happens, you lose a client, which means a loss in income, it could be anything that happens in your business that takes you by surprise, that kind of just knocks that wind out. You get that jolt. Okay. So I hear this stuff all the time, right? Like people talk about, like all the bad stuff that happens, but then they don't tell you how to get your mindset back on track. Now I have a few people in my network that I talk with a lot that do, and they are 100% mindset people. And my friend Samantha Altieri, and I know for a fact I probably just butchered her last name. I'm going to bring her on here sometime because I really want you guys to get to know her. She's amazing, and she is a really, really freaking awesome mindset coach. And so some of these things have come from her and listening to her podcast and listening to her talk about mindset and how you deal with being in like an ADHD entrepreneur and the scatterbrain and all that stuff. So here's the 4 things that have helped me shift my mindset. So when I get off track or off kilter, I get the wind knocked out of me or whatever it may be. First, I give myself a minute. Like, I allow myself to be pissed off. I allow myself to be frustrated. I allow myself to go, WTF? Like, what the fuck? I allow myself to do that because entrepreneurship is hard. And you absolutely 100%, if something happens and it jolts you in your business and it makes you frustrated or upset or whatever, you're allowed to feel that. Okay. So the whole thing about like taking emotion out of business is total crap. You're allowed to feel upset. You're allowed to feel pissed off. You're allowed to take a minute and say, you know what, screw this. I'm super mad about this. What you're not allowed to do is let that get you down for weeks and months and let that stop you from going forward. You turn the negative into a positive, okay? So you turn the negative thing that happened, you take a step back, you breathe, and you say, okay, how can I turn this negative into a positive? This bad thing happened, but if I take a look at it and I break it down, I bet you can find at least 1 to 5 things about that negative thing that happened that is going to make you a better business owner and a better entrepreneur. And it's going to make you better because that thing happened. Okay? I'm going to give you an example. The reason we're talking about this right now is we lost a client. And it was a good sizable chunk of monthly retainer income, right? So this was a done for you client, and they were kind of our problem child client, if you will. They didn't really communicate what they needed from us very well, and in turn, we didn't really communicate back to them and say, hey, we're not getting what we need from you to make this a successful partnership. So shame on us. We should have stepped up as the experts and said, listen, and kind of tried to give them a roadmap to success, right? Just like we do with this group. We should have done that for them and we didn't. So shame on us. And shame on them for they took the leap a little too early, not knowing what they wanted, not knowing what they needed. And then they kind of, anyway, it doesn't matter. So we mutually left the partnership because it just wasn't a fantastic partnership from either side. So, but from our side, that means obviously we lost that retainer income. We lost that monthly guaranteed income that was coming in through that contract. So was it jolting? Yes. Was I pissed off and annoyed and frustrated? 100%. What I didn't do is let myself dwell on it for more than like a day. Because if I was still doing that, if I was still dwelling on it and I was still that, I wouldn't be able to come live here and talk to you. I wouldn't be able to show up how I need to show up for my audience. I wouldn't be able to show up for my team. And that's not okay. So like the most important thing for me is showing up for you in this group. And the most important thing for me is showing up for my team. So when these emotional things happen in your business, take a moment. That's number 1, right? Like that is your mindset number 1 trick. Take a moment. Take a moment. Feel pissed off. Feel frustrated. Feel sad. Whatever the emotion is. And then take a deep breath and move on. Right? Done. All right. So number 2, when you're going through this kind of mindset shift, is talk it out. So when you're in this state of, you get a jolt in your business, right? Like you go through number 1, you get the sad, pissed off, frustration, anger out of your system. Number 2 is you talk it out. You find someone you trust, a mentor, a teammate, a spouse, and anybody really, you find someone that you trust that you can talk to, and you talk about the situation out loud. This is not like a do it through email, do it through instant message. This is a you get on the phone or live chat or something like that, and you talk out loud to this person and you say, this is what happened. This is how I'm feeling. And this is why I don't ever want to do that again. And you kind of just get all the emotions out, right? Whatever, you get it out of the way. Because when you talk about things out loud, it makes them more real, right? It really does. Like an email is great, instant message is great. It's still a conversation. But when you talk out loud to someone face to face, it's the accountability, and it holds you, and it holds you accountable, and it makes it seem more real. So that's number 2. When you're doing this mindset shift, is talk it out with someone. And I highly recommend you doing 1 and 2 within a couple of days of each other. The dwelling part, like the sad, pissed off, anger, frustration, don't take more than a day to dwell on something, because otherwise, if you do, and I personally don't like, I give it like hours, like 3 to 4 hours. I'm pissed off, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, and then I have to move on, because if I dwell on it too long, like I said, it's just too much of a time suck. There's no time in my life or my day for that. And then I usually jump on the phone with Kristen or somebody from my team or one of my other mentors, and I jump on and I immediately say, okay. And with Kristen, it's awesome because she's my right hand woman. She's my teammate, so she's usually living the frustration with me, so we can both talk it out together, get it out of our systems, and then we kind of do like what we call a retrospective, and we're like, okay, well, this is how we're never going to have that happen again. This is why it didn't work. And the true transparency of like, okay, what could we from our team have done better? What could they have done better? Like, why do we never want to work with that type of person again? Like for the story example that I just gave, like we now know, like we have kind of a checklist now of who we will and will not work with, right? Like you have to be at a certain point in your business. You have to be willing to put in the work. Like there's all the things. Okay, so number 3 is the action plan, right? So you create an action plan for the next 2 or 3 months, and you really figure out, and that's kind of what that retrospective is for us, like I was just talking about. We kind of create a plan and just put down into either just a data dump on a Word document or something. There's just a list of like, for us with that example, we now have a crystal clear cut list of the clients that we like are done for you clients, where they have to be in their business, and who we're going to work with and who we're not going to work with. Because even though people are hiring us for done for you services, there is still a certain level of, there's a percentage level of effort that they have to put in, right? They have to put in a certain amount of work for us to be able to actually be successful for them. So we have to make sure that we're taking on people that are willing to put the 10% in. We're doing 90% of it, so we're taking the load. But you've got to be willing to put that 5 or 10% in for us to be able to help you. Otherwise, it's that's just not successful. So the action plan is really important. We usually put together kind of like a step-by-step checklist or something. So here's an example too. Like what I'll do is, this was actually a really good example. I revamped the verbiage on our website to make it more SEO friendly, but also to kind of, I thought that there was some verbiage on the website that could have prevented the issue, the thing from happening. So I always go back through, anytime we have that kind of jolt in the business, I'll go back through and make sure that all of our messaging is on point, that we're not like maybe giving somebody the impression, that we're something we're not, you're just making sure you go back through and like kind of like really refresh everything and make sure like, well, did I happen to say something or do something that made this person think that this would be this way, you know. And so we always do a kind of an analysis of our own internal stuff too. And then obviously the very kind of last mindset thing is follow through, right? Like we hold ourselves accountable. We create a checklist. We figure out, you know, after the retrospect, and that's consistency, right? Like we talk about consistency all over the place. So we actually hold ourselves accountable and consistent to the checklist and the plan. Now, obviously, this kind of stuff happens all the time. Like I said back at the top of the hour, every milestone you hit in your business, every growth milestone, there's going to be something. There's going to be new goals, there's going to be new milestones, new challenges, and you're going to have to adapt to things that happen because it's going to be different things. So like when you're a smaller business, you're going to have jolts and different things like we just talked about, losing a client, or like then that next step, there's going to be a different set of challenges and a different set of like, whoa, what the heck was that? Knocking the wind out of you type of thing in your business. And I just highly recommend you come up with these 4 steps that work for you. These are the 4 steps that have worked with us. Take a minute, get sad, get pissed off, whatever, do that. Like there is time for that. Talk it out. We do a lot of talking with our VIPs. So like when things happen within their business, we expect them to jump online and talk to us. We expect them to come and say, Wayne, I'm gonna use you as an example again. Wayne had an issue with his email stuff, and there was like an email service provider. I won't even get into it. It was like a 3-week long process of hell for him. So, but that was the thing, is we kept asking him about it. We kept getting him to talk about it. We kept encouraging him to talk about it, because as he talked about it, and you could tell, like when he first started talking about it, he was really upset. He was really pissed off. He was frustrated. And by week number 3, like we had 2 or 3 conversations about it, the pissed off, like super angry kind of like, it starts to dissipate a little bit, and it starts to low. And so he was feeling better about it. And I won't tell him. We're going to tell him right now. Today, we're going to talk about this right here. And we're going to talk about like how we can positively kind of turn that negative thing into a positive thing. So, but that's part of like, that's really some of the mindset stuff that you get within our group. Is we don't do a lot of it, but I mean, we really do focus on the technology and how we can help in sales numbers and how we can help you grow that way. But some of this has to be talked about, right? Like some of this, because technology is frustrating. It's super irritating and pissed. You know, you're going to get pissed off at your technology. It's just going to happen because it's going to break. You're not going to know why. And shit's going to blow up in your face. You need to be able to figure out how to not let it hold you down. But yeah, that's kind of the 4 steps. Give yourself a minute, talk it out, create the plan, and then follow through with your plan. It will work at kind of every milestone that you set in your business, every kind of big kind of milestone that you set. This will work. You're going to have to adapt it based on the milestones that come through. There's going to be different types of follow throughs and action plans that you're going to create, but if you follow those 4 steps, it's pretty easy. And it doesn't have to be complicated, by the way. You know me, like I don't do complicated. Like that's not my thing. Like it can be a Word document. Like you just like create, or like a Google document, and you just create like a data dump of this is what went wrong. This is what we need to change. Boom. And then like Kristen, my powerhouse, she will take this is what we need to do next and turn it into the action planner step by step, like, in our project management tool. So if you're a solopreneur, don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be like super, super complicated. It can be really easy. I mean, you can use sticky notes. I used to use sticky notes. Now I don't do that anymore because I don't recommend that is not the most organized way to do anything, especially if you have children who, they're sticky notes. Wayne showed me sticky notes, especially if you have children who like to come into your office and move them. So now I number my sticky notes because then if they're out of order, I know like where they go back. So yeah. That's what I got for today. It was a pretty quick one. So I'm going to hang up with Facebook Land unless I see any questions come in the next like 30 seconds or so. If not, I'm going to jump on to the VIP group and we will call it a day. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I don't see any questions coming through, so we are going to call it and say goodbye to Facebook Land. And it's now a VIP hour. And thank you, Facebook people. We will see you on Thursday if you're around for office hours. Bye, everybody.